Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your Finest Live Now with Dr. G. Rex Kruhly. Whether you're tuning in live right now or watching a recording, we welcome you to this weekly show. Hello, Dr. G. How are you today?
Good, very good, Owen. Thank you.
Yeah. This is going to be a very special session today. We're going to talk about your understanding of the program itself, the Finest Life Now. What that means for you, and you have a very special message for all of us. Can you share what your take about your Finest Life Now means?
Yeah, so today's show is extra special, folks. Please listen carefully, and you may want to watch it a couple of times. So I was the one who chose the title here, Your Finest
Mm,
Life Now. Now, of course, meaning today, right now, and
mm,
your finest life now, not just a good life or a good life or whatever, the finest life, right?
mm,
So what's my vision of that? In October, I'll be running Genesis, a 3-day massive event for your highest development.
mm,
The vision for me for your finest life means is a global vision
mm,
that has to do with um, wealthy, noble, free people
mm,
living in a non-destructive society. So that the human existence, our businesses and so forth, are fostering life on Earth, all
mm,
the animals, sky, everything. And it is not it looks like I'm frozen there. Okay. And it is not a selfish, a self-centered business. All human beings, because we have a self, we are self-centered. Even
mm,
if you desperately love your wife or husband, it is self-centered love, first and foremost. You need to understand that. But there is a higher, a stronger or higher consciousness than that, which is being other-centered, okay?
mm,
Which means of being of service for humanity. So wealth consciousness, your finest life now, fosters, of course, wealth consciousness and wealth creation
right.
means being other-centered for all people, for everything. And that includes health, relationships, and everything else.
Mm,
Now, my qualifications span 51 years, and I am a licensed doctor. I know when I moved to Thailand, I canceled those licenses, of course, because I'm not running an office at this time in the United States. But I had
mm,
2 offices in Alpharetta, Georgia, and then I was a senior staff doctor in Winchester, Tennessee, for a year. And then, I apprenticed under many great masters. The greatest among them, because there's several over the four, but the four primary are Dr. Lance Wright, Dr. Jeff Britton, Dr. Bob Rakowski, and then Dr. Larry Habersky. And I've also studied from all of the greatest masters of the founding fathers of the biggest systems in the world, which includes George Goodhart Jr. for nearly 16 years, founder
mm,
of Applied Kinesiology, Donald Epstein, founder of Network Chiropractic, and Dr. Ted Morter and Sue Morter themselves, the founder of bioenergetic synchronization technique.
mm,
Okay, so enough said about all that stuff. Now, I want to talk to you about something very important.
mm,
Your finest life now, there was a word there, life, okay?
mm,
So your finest life now implies that you are alive. That sounds funny, but this is a very serious conversation.
mm,
It's implying that you're alive, okay? Now, I want to explain a mechanism for you regarding the poke. I now understand the mechanism. I was able to watch a video yesterday from the greatest authority in Germany in the world, world renowned on that type of injection. And your immune system, which has been evolved over thousands of years, it's the most perfect system that you could ever imagine. And it's made of something called an undifferentiated antibody. It's like a big wall of these undifferentiated antibody. Now, undifferentiated means it has no preference. So if a mosquito bites you and it's carrying malaria, the malaria comes in and it meets the undifferentiated antibody. Within 3 days, you can reference Dr. Bruce Lipton on this. Within 3 days, the undifferentiated antibodies will go through a series of steps and make the perfect antibody for the malaria. So for 3 days, you feel lousy while it's ramping itself up. But because they're undifferentiated, they can handle. Now, inside your gut is 5 pounds of bacteria, viruses, and parasites called your gut biome. They work in unison to give you physical life. They are vital. The gut biome is so vital, it's considered the third brain. You have one, the heart, and then the gut biome. So the gut biome is responsible for your physical existence, okay? All of the hormone, everything comes from there. But if your immune system were to be shut off, like say you're in severe fear shuts the immune system, dampens right down, it can even go off. And then all of those bacteria and those viruses and the parasites, they get out of hand. They can destroy your health, they can even kill you. Because there's nothing keeping them in check. They're in a state of balance. And then meanwhile, like rays, chemtrails, all these millions of things are hitting you at all times. Average American household, just in the morning getting ready for work, you're estimated to be hit by 250 different environmental toxins just in your products. But your immune system handles all of that, okay? Now, if you get this, what does it do? You have strain A, B, C, D. You know, have you noticed in each wave, and they say there's a new mutant, right? Okay. When you get this, it makes what's called a spike protein antibody. It makes a gigantic antibody, but it only recognizes A. So if A comes and you have it for life, it never goes away. It never changes or reverts. So once those big giant antibodies are made for A, if A comes, no problem. If B comes, you're done. It'll kill you because there's nothing to meet it. What happened to the other little antibodies, the undifferentiated? They are overruled by the large dominant molecule. They don't have a voice anymore. So what that thing does is erase your immune system. Once your immune system is erased, anything can and will kill you.
So in other words, what you're saying is that the spike protein that we're training our body to create, basically that becomes so loud that it overrules our natural instinctive.
It cancels it right out, Owen.
Wow.
It's so strong, and it doesn't. Once you get this, it's there. It's immediate. You get one, then they have a waiting period for the second one, and then it's done.
Yeah.
Now, the most pathetic part of this scenario is this. If you get that, you are now a carrier you know, the mask, that's all just a bunch of nonsense. That has to do with facial recognition from satellites. It's got nothing to do. That mask couldn't stop a virus any more than the man moved. Viruses are so tiny, any virus just go right through the mask. But I mean, if you want to see real masks that stop a virus, go to intensive care units and see what the difference is. So anyway, if you get this, now you are a real carrier. So not
Also,
only do you go down, but they are allowing it. It's like an army. Now there's a movie I would like all of you to watch with Donald Sutherland. It's called Breakout. It was made and Morgan Freeman is in it.
yep.
Just watch that, okay? Seriously, it's called Breakout. It's an excellent movie. But let that sink in. Now, I always teach everyone on Your Finest Life Now, and as a doctor, when I see people privately and so forth, identify your core values. I want you all to realize and start embedding into your mind the value of your life. Your life. Life. Look at it, wake up and before the sun rises and watch a sunrise. And you feel the beauty of that. The only reason you're feeling it is because you're alive. If you like to do ceremonies with the moon, you only can enjoy it if you're alive. If you're holding your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you only feel them because you're alive. Now, they are removing that. Now, what about children? Yeah, you know, all those nice little innocent kids. Now, someone asked me the question, well, if all my family, if they all took it, who cares? Why don't I just take it and be done with it? This is the time and the age to fortify your spirit like a hero. What is a hero? A hero, when everyone, it's like a fireman. You ever seen a real fire? When everyone is running away from it, the fireman runs into it to save lives. This is what is needed now. In Japanese martial craft, we call To-So-Shin. To-So-Shin means fighting spirit. So you don't just have or haven't a fighting spirit. You forge it. You forge it by reflecting on life. If you're a girl, does anybody have the right to walk up, whip off their clothes, and just take you sexually any way they want? If you're a boy or a man, does anyone have the right to just walk up and start slapping you across the face and drive their fist through your teeth? Anyone have that right? So does anybody have the right to just and tell you you have to? Oh no, no. And people will say to me, but if I wanted, I gotta take it. I gotta travel. Well, you won't be traveling long, will you? What's more important, the trip or your life? What's more important, the trip or your little son or daughter? You gotta really, this is the question now. So when I do Genesis, when I do the morphic clearings, I'm removing the fear that makes you think you have to, or that keeps you down, makes you poor, or that prevents you from being able to believe you can have a dream of being financially free. That's what I'm doing. Depth healing is designed to handle anything. But there's one thing I can't do. I know because I checked with the divine. If you have this, the greatest healers on the planet can't do anything for you.
So in this case, I mean, this message is coming out now, and it's really quick of you that Dr. G, are you there? Yeah. Well, I'm just going to post the question first. Looks like he is coming back online. Dr. G?
Yeah, I'm back.
You're back?
See me anyway.
Right. So let me just pose this question to you, Dr. G. You realized and you understood the implications of this yesterday. And immediately, because we have this on today, this message is brought up as your moral responsibility of being a doctor, of saving lives, etc. Right. Yeah, and this is coming out as quick as we can bring it out.
Yeah.
However, the process has already started, and there are a lot of people who have or are in line to actually go through the choices that they've made.
Yep.
So once they have gone through that, it seems a bit bleak that there's nothing we can do. Is there anything at all that you would advise or that we might want to consider, just to mitigate the situation? Anything you know of?
Well, that's why I'm talking to you. And that's why all of the biggest doctors are talking. And that's why the scientists are talking. There isn't anything you can do. If you've got that vaccine, you have my sympathy. Live as carefully, and you should try to live practically like, utterly sterile as much as you possibly can. You have to understand that they've made you into a carrier. Now you as an adult, you made a decision, so you live with it, and that's all there is to it. Right now, today, as we're speaking, there will be thousands of people, and that's what they're doing. This is why it's my moral obligation as a doctor that I try. It's the moral of all the great doctors, like I talked to Bob Rakowski, Dr. Rakowski last night, and I said, I was asking him basically the same thing Owen just said. He says, well, we do what we can. And then he and his own kids and his own family, they maintain robust health. Like all of you, if you have not done anything like that, you boost up with lots of vitamin C, CoQ10 for the mitochondria, turmeric, and so forth. And of course, lots of omega-3 that does not come from large fish. It must come from anchovies or sardines. You invest in some form of proven technology to knock out Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi is what this is all about in the first place, and it's breaking your DNA in half, giving you every kind of cancer under the sun. It's causing 3 forms of dementia. And of course, if you're aware of the world situation, both the cancers and the dementia are an epidemic situation. That's because of Wi-Fi. So make sure you are protected, then that isn't hitting your system, because your immune system cannot.
Well, we seem to have a bit of a connection issue now with Dr. G. I'm sure he'll be back shortly. So let me just recap everything that he has mentioned so far on how we can better equip ourselves by getting taking care of our health, by making sure that we get massive doses of vitamin C. He mentioned something about omega-3, something that I do personally on my own. And my source of omega-3 is not from fishes, but from plants, which is the chia seed. That's something that I've been doing on my own. And if there is any questions following up to this particular video, from any of you, always do drop us a message, send us a question, connect with Dr. G directly. Even we have a Telegram group. We'll be showing that handle shortly, but that's basically Your Finest Life Now on Telegram. And you can post your questions to us directly so that we can actually get back to you, get the information to you where we can. We also have a Clubhouse show on Thursdays, every Thursdays at the same time, 10 a.m. Singapore time, 9 a.m. Thailand time, where we get to interact with you directly. You can post your questions there. Dr. G is there to answer you on the spot. So I think we will not be able to get a connection back with him anytime soon. In that case, I will ask you to just stay in touch with us. I'd like to remind you that tomorrow, you still have time for this, but tomorrow we will be having the second group morphic field healing session. That's at 9 a.m. Thailand time, 10 a.m. Singapore time. Allocate about an hour and a half to 2 hours for the whole session. We've had people sharing amazing response, amazing experiences after the whole event last month. Yeah, so this month is the second time. We invite you to join us to actually look at what we ourselves can take responsibility for to deal with the fears, right? And we look forward to getting back in touch with you same time next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.